Nintendo, what are you doing? Doomsday Warrior? Like, Doomsday Warrior? Okay, so look. You guys know by now. If you don't, you're about to know. The Switch is probably my all-time favorite console that has ever been created. I love it. When I was growing up, I was very much a PlayStation 1 guy, a PlayStation 2 guy. I grew up in an area where I loved the Sega more. I loved the Sega Genesis. That was my first console. It was my console. I grew up with other things I had in television and things like that. The Sega Genesis was mine. Growing up, the Super Nintendo became my all-time favorite console. Then it was replaced by the Sony PlayStation, then the PlayStation 2, and then it was a battle between the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. Then I fell into the PlayStation 3. I ended up absolutely hating it. I moved on to the PlayStation 4. I moved on to the Switch, and the Switch, unlike any system before it, just matches my life in a way that makes it the greatest piece of console technology that I have simply ever owned. Ever. It's so good. But that doesn't mean that we don't call it out for bullshit like this. What are you doing? How can you have a library as extensive as the Super Nintendo, and you do this virtual console for Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and you update it each month? You give us like 2, 3, 4 new games. Sometimes you drop a gem like Donkey Kong Country, and I'm like, that's perfect. And then you give us something like Immortal. Then today, I get online and I see Doomsday Warrior. You're the Super Nintendo. You could have given us things that we never got here in America, like Gundam Wing, Endless Duel, one of the greatest fighting games to have ever been put to the Super Nintendo. Not biased, I'm telling you, it's great. We could have got the Sailor Moon fighting game. We could have got Samurai Showdown. We could have got Fatal Fight. We could have got Fatal Fury. We could have got The Art of Fighting, which isn't even that great of a game to me, but still. We could have got we could have got 1, 2, 3 of the Mortal Kombat games. Like, Doomsday Warrior is what you picked? What about Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 2, Super Butoden 1, Super Butoden 3? What about Dragon Ball Z Hyper Dimension Zone? What about anything from a Dragon Ball Z fighting franchise that is absolutely huge that would have guaranteed people get the Nintendo year subscription to play one of the fighting games that they missed out on? Emulated that will work. What about dropping some of the Mega Man games? Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not that, yeah, well, you get it. 8, 9, and 10, they're not going to be on that virtual console, but 1 through 6, that's possible. 7, right there. What about X? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, just give me something. Give me something. A gem. Every single month, we should be getting a gem, an actual gem. One of the greatest games ever released in Super Nintendo history should drop every single month. And then alongside those games, if you want to test out crappy properties like Doomsday Warrior, that's where you do that. You don't make the February drop include Doomsday Warrior unless you have some really, really good shit to back it up, and you don't. This is the worst part of the Nintendo Switch, of the Nintendo property. This deal that you give. We pay a fake paywall to play online. That's what it is. I stick to that. On PC, this paywall doesn't exist, okay? That means that it doesn't exist. It's not just because it's on PC. It means that it's fucking fake. They know you will pay it, so they charge it and you pay it. I talked about this in the Xbox video. Now, Nintendo realizes that if Sony gets away with it and Microsoft gets away with it, then they can do it too. So they want a paywall, but they have to offer you something. So what do they offer you? Well, there's these 2 virtual consoles and a couple of free games that are kind of neat, like a Kirby and a Mario. Go ahead and get on there. We update it every month. It's definitely worth your time. Free games, ladies and gentlemen. This free game, today, we're giving you Doomsday Warrior, a true classic on the Super Nintendo. One of the only games that could have possibly overthrown the fighting champion Street Fighter II. Wait. No, it couldn't have done that because it's fucking awful. This needs to be addressed. This needs to be fixed. They need to fix these updates to these virtual consoles, and they need to drop real games. And don't tell me they can't do it because we watched them release the Super Nintendo Classic. There is no reason that you can release a Nintendo, an NES Classic, and a Super Nintendo Classic, and you can license all those games, and you can't get the license to give them to me on the virtual console. There's no reason. There's no way. I don't buy it. It's impossible. If you can license them to put them out on a console that people can play every day for the rest of their lives, then you can license those games to put them on your virtual console that anybody can buy and anybody can play through your freaking paywall. You could do this. You're choosing not to. I don't know why, but you're choosing not to. By now, we should have had Final Fantasy drops. By now, we should have had Mega Man drops. By now, we should have seen the Street Fighter games. By now, we should have seen, like, there's a ton of games that you are rolling over, that you are putting into the back, that you are shoving into the dumpster, and for some reason we're not getting them, and instead we get Doomsday Warrior? This is ridiculous. You know it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. Nintendo knows it's ridiculous. And the fact that we're paying for this $20 paywall means they don't care. They've already got our money. We have to find a way to demand that higher quality be put into these virtual drops. We have to find a way, because this is ridiculous. And if this is the kind of crap they're giving us, then the only thing I can say is that it's just going to get worse. What a fucking waste.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.